let's get started. Give you a little quick background on Congressman Swalwell. I'm not sure how much of his full biography I will go through, but
they cannot hear you.
Can everybody hear me in the back? No? Is that better? Okay, that's as close as it's gonna get. All right, Congressman Eric Swalwell proudly represents California's 15th congressional district, the East Bay area, where he grew up. He attended public schools here and served upon returning home from college and law school. Eric is the oldest of 4 boys and son to Eric Sr., a retired police officer, and Vicky works as a secretary. Basically, in the summer of 2001, Eric worked as an unpaid intern in the office of his representative, Congresswoman Ellen Tauscher? There you go, Tauscher. Eric was a Capitol Hill intern the morning of September 11, 2001, a day that strengthened his commitment to public service and inspired his first legislative achievement, creating a public-private college scholarship program for students who lost parents in the attacks. Wow, that's great. At the University of Maryland, Eric created and was the first to hold the position of student liaison on the College Park City Council. After college, Eric went to and graduated from the University of Maryland School of Law. Inspired by his father's service as a police officer, Eric joined the Alameda County District Attorney's Office to stand up to bullies, protect victims, and serve the cause of justice. In the 7 years Eric served in the office, he prosecuted thousands of cases and tried 34 jury trials to verdict, ranging from domestic violence to elder abuse to human trafficking to 3 first-degree murders. Eric also assisted District Attorney Nancy O'Malley with the office's federal advocacy, traveling to Washington, D.C. to pursue grant funding and advocate for tougher human trafficking laws. In addition to his service in the District Attorney's Office, Eric founded and served as chairperson to the Dublin High School Alumni Association. In 2006, Eric was appointed to and later served as chairperson of the Dublin Heritage and Cultural Arts Commission, where he helped build the city's Heritage Museum. In 2008, Eric was appointed to the Dublin Planning Commission, and in 2010, Eric was elected to the Dublin City Council, where he served alongside his longtime friend, mentor, and high school economics teacher and mock trial coach, Mayor Tim Sgronti. On the City Council, Eric used a common-sense bipartisan approach to pursue creative policies that foster new jobs, balance the city's budget every year, and created the Wine Region Subcommittee to protect open space, entice viticulture, and enhance the region's economic viability. In November 2012, Eric was elected to the United States House of Representatives, basically promising to bring new energy ideas and a problem-solving spirit of working together to Congress. Let's give Eric a big warm welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Alice, for putting this together and hosting me here. It is an honor to be here on President's Day. And, you know, I'll start it with this. Abraham Lincoln said over 150 years ago that as the country was going through slavery and what we would do to fight slavery, Abraham Lincoln said, those who would deny freedom to others do not deserve it themselves, and under a just God will not retain it for long. And I'm reminded of that because last week I was in the House chamber as President Obama delivered the State of the Union address. And as I sat there in the chamber and thought about what was his theme, what was he trying to tell us and convey to us, the message I took away was that our country is a country that has, since President Lincoln really worked to free slaves, our country has been one that has promised equality and opportunity to all. And it's something we still strive for today. And when he talked about economic opportunity in his speech, and he talked about immigration reform, and also about what we can do to free our streets of gun violence, I really thought that that still rings true today, that our mission and our cause must be in the Congress to make sure we continue to ensure freedom and freedom of opportunity for everyone in our country. And that's why I ran for the United States Congress. This is my home area. This is where I grew up. when I was just a young man. I knew Alex very well because his son and I played on the same soccer team, and for me, soccer was an opportunity to go to college. My parents had not gone to college, and they really encouraged me to do everything I could to earn a soccer scholarship. I was the oldest of 4 boys, and for my parents, economically, it made sense for me to earn a scholarship because it was going to be very hard for them to pay for my 3 younger brothers to also go to college. And so they challenged me to try and continue to, while throughout high school, pay for my private lessons because, as Alex knows, playing competitive soccer as a young man, it costs a lot of money to travel all over. So what I did was I took a number of different odd jobs while I was growing up. I was a paper boy. I worked as a restaurant server. I worked at the mall where I would fold clothes, and I learned very early on that I was just as bad at folding clothes at home as I was at folding clothes at the mall, and that job didn't last very long. I worked as a wedding entertainer's assistant, where I would, before the age of 14, I had attended over 200 weddings, helping a wedding entertainer set up on Saturdays and Sundays. And I did all of that, worked hard because I knew that that money would help my parents who couldn't afford it themselves to get private lessons, travel competitively, and I was fortunate that I earned a soccer scholarship. And I was the first in my family to go to college. I played Division I soccer back east, and it was a boyhood dream come true. But the best thing that ever happened to me was after my sophomore year, I got injured, and I lost my scholarship. And it forced me to think about other academic pursuits. And I realized that my career would not be in athletics, but I would have to find something that didn't just serve myself, but a way to serve others. And for me, I had enjoyed as a high schooler working and participating in mock trial competitions, and so I angled myself in a career towards the law. And I thought good experience in the law would be working for a member of Congress. And so between the summer of 2001, my sophomore and junior year, I applied for an internship on Capitol Hill. And you can imagine my parents having just seen their son lose their soccer scholarship, the prospect of their son now taking an unpaid internship in Capitol Hill wasn't too appealing to them. And so I asked them, I said, well, what if I worked? What if I helped out and pitched in to make this happen? And they said, well, if you did that, then we may be able to make it happen. So what I did from 5:30 until 8:30 in the morning, I worked at a gym right next to the Capitol building. And I would go to the gym in the morning, and I would be in my gym clothes, and I would hand out gym towels to members of Congress, because they would come in the morning and check out racquetball courts or go to the weight room. And then at 8:30, I'd put on my suit, and I would run up to Capitol Hill, and I would give tours and answer the phones and do the other tasks that the interns performed. And at the end of the day, I would go back down Capitol Hill, get back out of my suit, and this time I put a server's outfit on. And I worked at a Mexican restaurant on Capitol Hill until about 10 at night. And many times, members of Congress would come in and I would serve them their meals. And I learned very early on that if I memorized their faces, and at the time we had a congressional Facebook that I could flip through, if I memorized their faces, that would help me greet them by name, and then that would in the end help me get better tips from them. So members of Congress, it may surprise you, have very, very big egos. So if you end up shocking, if you call them by name, that would always help. So there I was in the morning serving them gym towels, in the evening serving them meals, and having no idea at that time that 11 years later I would have the opportunity to serve with them in the halls of Congress. But it is that opportunity that I think makes our country so great. It's why so many immigrants come to our country, because in America, if you try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, there's always the opportunity to try and succeed. We have those pipelines to success that our country has always offered. And I ran for Congress because I want to make sure that we broaden those pipelines, we open up those opportunities for success to every person in our community. And so I came back home after law school, worked for 7 years as a prosecutor, and ran for Congress in this area where I grew up. And the area that I'm most interested in working in is local economic development. I believe this area, because of its diversity, because it's such a highly educated workforce, we can really lead the way in where job creation and where new jobs are going to be. In Congress, I have the honor of serving as the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Energy for the Science and Technology Committee. And so that means I'm the most senior Democrat on that committee, which just happens to be a fluke because I'm so new there, but the way the House rules work, that assignment came to me, and what I've been doing is working to use our laboratories. We have 2 national laboratories in our congressional district that work on renewable energy projects, and they're also the largest employer in the congressional district. And what I want to do is invest in energy and help make us more energy independent as a country, but also help create new jobs in the private sector. I think energy jobs, advanced manufacturing jobs, as well as jobs in healthcare, especially as healthcare providers move more and more toward electronic record management, and we're seeing more and more technologies that are allowing us to live longer, be deployed throughout our hospitals and doctor offices. I do see a number of opportunities in this area in biomedical and also healthcare. And so Wayne Gretzky always said that he scored thousands of goals in hockey not because he skated to where the puck was, it was because he skated to where the puck was going to be. And I think that is the challenge we have as leaders right now, and not just in politics but in business, is understanding where is the puck going to be. And that's why I'm so interested in really helping our local schools and local educators get up to speed when it comes to how we educate and prepare our children. And we hear a lot about STEM education. I call it STEM double M, which is science, technology, engineering, math, and manufacturing, and making sure that we really equip our students to compete in this global changing economy. A couple of statistics I wanted to throw out at you that I think we need to really think about as far as our own global competitiveness. Right now, Silicon Valley, the heart of Silicon Valley, is still the work that they do in chip making, silicon chip making. That's how Silicon Valley started, and there are thousands of jobs in that industry. However, 50% of the engineers who are doing chip making in Silicon Valley who have a master's degree were born outside the United States. 66% of the engineers who are working in chip making who have a PhD in Silicon Valley are born outside the United States. And so what that tells me is that for those industries that are the lifeblood of our area in technology and engineering, unless we are able to prepare our own students here in America to compete for those jobs here locally, one of 2 things are going to happen. Either the jobs are going to start going offshore, or our own children here in America are going to have fewer and fewer job opportunities when they get older. So that's why when I say we need to learn where is the puck going to be, and that's where we should be skating, that's why I want to invest more and more in science and engineering for our children. Because when we look at international standards, our students in the United States are performing about in the middle when it comes to science and engineering. So I think that's our biggest challenge over the next 25 years, how to really work with our local educators to prepare our teachers to teach for those jobs and angle our own students in that direction. And I'm very interested in doing that in the United States Congress. I also want to say just something about immigration reform. The President talked about immigration reform in his speech on last Tuesday night. And I'm a supporter of comprehensive immigration reform. And I was a prosecutor for 7 years, and I saw what can happen with a broken immigration system. Very often I was frustrated that I would be looking for a victim of a crime, and I would finally locate the victim through their family member, and I would be told that, well, the victim has been removed from our country. And I thought, well, why were they removed? And I would learn that the victim was removed because they were here undocumented, and they were sent back to their country, or oftentimes sent to Arizona in a holding facility where you have to wait for months before you're processed. Then I would have a case, separate case, and I would look at the defendant and I would read their background information. I would see that the defendant, the person who had committed a serious or violent crime, had been in our country, committed a serious or violent crime, served time, was released back into our community, was not removed, committed another serious or violent crime, released back into our community, again not removed. And so we have a broken system that's inconsistent, and we really draw no distinction between people who commit serious crimes and people who are here working to try and contribute to our economy, who were oftentimes the victims or the witnesses that I would work with. And I saw another staggering statistic. In the last year, 2011, about 400,000 people were formally removed from the United States, but fewer than half of those people had criminal records. So what that tells me is we have a number of thousands of people in our custody just in California who we know are undocumented and are committing serious crimes, but we're not removing. And then we have over 200,000 people in 2011 who did not commit a crime at all, and we did remove. So I think the system's broken. And what I want to do is offer a system and work with the Congress to have a system that keeps our borders secure, that removes swiftly after they serve their sentences the most dangerous and violent criminals. And for the rest of the folks who want to be in our country, contribute to our economy, wrap themselves into our community, I want to find a roadmap to citizenship for them. And I want to make sure if we educate someone in our country, if they come to one of our universities, that we are not sending them back to their country with an American education to create tens or hundreds of jobs against us, and that will hurt the American worker. I'd rather that we work with them so they can create the job here in America. So it's an interest that I think we cannot allow to divide us either, because it should not be about comprehensive immigration reform is only for Latinos. And you hear that debate often in Congress, that, well, this is only for the undocumented Latinos in our country. It is about scores of ethnicities, Indian American, Asian Americans, who are here in our country, have a great interest in having an immigration reform system that puts a priority on family visas, or a priority on increasing the H-1B visas that are available. So the approach I want to take is that we are all in this together when it comes to comprehensive immigration reform. We can't be divided by ethnicities. We can't be divided by states. It can't be, this is only going to benefit California and Texas. This is going to benefit everyone in our country. And it also can't be divided by income level. We can't say, let's have comprehensive immigration reform for high-skilled workers, and then the low-skilled workers, let's have a process of removing them out of the country. I think it has to be a consistent reform that benefits all of us. And I'm encouraged this is going to happen because we have an economic advisory committee for my congressional office that meets every other month. And we have business leaders and labor leaders and folks across the economic spectrum in our district. And we have a very, very conservative business leader on that panel. And he did not agree with almost anything that many of the other task force members were saying when we met a couple weeks ago. And he and the labor leader and the person from the laboratory were very at odds about what government's role should be in economic development. But the one thing that he and everyone else agreed on in that economic advisory task force was that there has to be comprehensive immigration reform. So if we have the conservative and the liberal economic advisors on our task force agreeing, I know that immigration reform is on the horizon. It's something that we can do in a bipartisan way that keeps our borders safe, that has a process of identifying who undocumented persons are, making sure they pay into our system, that they get in line, but there is a roadmap for them to contribute to our economies and also our communities. So with that, I would actually prefer to take any questions if anyone has questions about what the Congress is working on, what we can do to create more economic development here locally, or just any general questions about our area and government.
Is there any questions? You have questions? I got the microphone to you. And Eric, do you mind to take the other one? Yeah.
Yeah, my name's Carl. I got one quick question. When do you think they're going to resolve the Jobs Act as far as the crowdfunding? I mean, the person that was there was supposed to have finished up in December, and now she's retired and gone. Are they going to do the shuffle until 2014?
I am concerned right now. There is no progress on the Jobs Act, and Congress right now is facing a federal shutdown. There are some in Congress, you've heard this phrase. I'm actually curious, just by a show of hands, who's heard the phrase sequester? So sequester means forced government